been a long time since I did a gun video, but thought it was about time for a new gun video, and today I'm going to do one on my Sig P229. This is my favorite pistol. I mentioned that in a previous video, and of all the pistols I own, this is, like I said, my favorite pistol. I've owned XDs and I've owned Glocks, and I always end up selling those and sticking with this one. This was the first pistol I ever bought. Pretty attached to it. And today we're going to cover a little bit about it, and if you're looking for a market for a pistol, I would recommend it, and I'll tell you why. First, a little background. Sig Sauer is a world-renowned firearms company. It's known for making high-quality pistols and rifles. Sig was actually a Swiss company, started in 1853 to manufacture small arms for the Swiss Army. It's always been a Swiss firm, but in the 1970s it joined with a German firm of J.P. Sauer and Schoen to market handguns worldwide because of a limitation on exports by the Swiss government, hence the name Sig Sauer that you're all familiar with. This is one of the most popular and probably one of the most respected pistols in law enforcement and military circles. This and its bigger brother, the 226. When it comes to backup guns for officers, there's usually two choices, which is the Glock 27 and the 229. And this is a 229, of course. Let me give you a little bit close up. There you go. As you can see, I've had it a long time. It's got some wear marks, but it's still in really good shape. This is one of the first generation Sig 229s. It's also got night sights on it. I don't think the later versions had those. The newer versions, of course, have got a rail system, where mine does not. Like I said, the 226 and 229 are the most popular SIGs in military and law enforcement circles. The 226 was actually adapted in 9mm by the Navy SEALs after they started having a lot of problems with their Berettas. The 229 in 40 Smith & Wesson was selected by the U.S. Coast Guard and the Department of Homeland Security, and everybody's been really happy with them. They're also used, not this particular model, but SIG-produced pistols are used by the DEA, the FBI, Secret Service, BATF, and several other smaller agencies. Some of you guys will know that the 226 was actually in the pistol competition for the Beretta to replace the 1911, and the 226 performed just like it was supposed to. Met all the qualifications, exceeded all the qualifications, and they picked the Beretta when it came down to it because it was cheaper. And they're starting to kind of learn their lesson over that, so the Berettas aren't as reliable as they used to be. The 228 actually was adopted by the U.S. Army as the M11 as their concealment pistol for undercover or plainclothes operatives. On a little bit of the gun, this generally comes in 40 cal. You can convert it to 357 SIG. It's very easy to do. The magazines are exactly the same. The only thing you've got to do is change out the barrel. 357 is very powerful, but it's very expensive to shoot. So make sure you can afford to buy 357 SIG if you plan on doing that conversion. By the way, all these guns are safety checked for all you safety sallies out there. So, anyway. Like I said, its chamber also 357. This was one of the first guns introduced for 40 cal. It was later than a lot of the other pistols designed to fire 40 cal because SIG actually took their time and wanted to build a proper gun for it. This is my 229 with when I bought it, it came with 4 magazines. Got them loaded with some these are gold dot self-defense rounds, and then I've got 2 magazines I've just got with standard Winchester white box target rounds. Let's see here. Yeah, the 229 is CNC milled out of a steel slot, or it's out of steel block. It's usually covered in this nitron black finish, but it comes in different colors now, but this is the most common. There's lots of accessories for this gun. It's also very ergonomic. Some of the newer SIGs have a smaller grip on the back of them. They've kind of slimmed them. They fattened this area of the gun and slimmed it in for smaller frame people, and you can change these out. I don't really like any of those the way they feel in my hand. I prefer this one much better, but it is one I've been familiar with for a long time. So it might just be me. Gun's very low recoil. My father's a big Glock fan, and I've shot his Glocks. He's got ones that fire 9mm, 40, and 45, and this gun in 40 recoils less, or has less felt recoil than his 9mm Glock. I fired a Glock to the point where the palm of my hand was starting to get real sore, and I can fire this pistol all day and not have the problem. SIGs list this as a concealment pistol, but that's kind of wishful thinking. I would consider this 238 here a concealment pistol. Fires 380 auto. It's much smaller. I'm going to move some of this stuff, as you can see. Much thinner, much smaller gun. It's not as powerful, doesn't hold as many rounds, of course, but this is also quite a bit lighter. This is a concealed carry pistol. This what I would consider a full-size pistol. If you're looking for a daily carry, this is probably more what you want. I mean, if you really want to carry this around, be my guest. I did it for about 2 weeks, and then went and bought this. This is also safety checked, by the way. It's too heavy to carry around all the time. It's too big and bulky and gets in the way. Unless you have some. The only way I found to comfortably carry this is to have one of those drop leg holsters, and you're not really fooling anybody carrying that thing around, and you just kind of look like a dork. So I tried carrying it. I've got a Black Hawk Serpa holster for it. I really like those Black Hawk Serpa holsters. I've had Phobuses, and I just ended up throwing them away. I would end up almost ripping my pants off trying to take the gun out. So I stuck with the Black Hawk. But like I said, it's a bit big to carry. But if you needed a gun to save your life and defend yourself with, or possibly take somebody out, this is definitely a gun to go with. It's got the this one model has the double action, single action trigger. Some of them are also double action. The double action, single action on this is sweet. The more you fire this gun, the better the trigger feel gets. It's also extremely accurate. I've shot a sub MOA group with this gun at 30 yards, and I am not a good pistol shooter. I'm a rifle person, and this gun shoots better than I do. It makes me look good at the range when I'm shooting. Another thing I like about this gun is it's really easy to field strip. I'll probably make another video showing field strip for it, but it's ridiculously easy. It's just a throw lever here and slides off. You don't have to try and punch out or anything like you do with the 1911. Real easy. You can see it's got I greased it up a little while ago, so I need to wipe off the excess. But this will take anything. Winchester white box, Wolf, even that Tula steel case ammo, it fires just fine. You do need to break in your SIG pistols, probably for a couple hundred rounds. After that, they'll work flawlessly. Just like most other pistols, it's not a surprise. There's lots of parts for this gun, lots of grips, lots of holsters. Of course, the newer ones, like I said, have an accessory rail. This is a ding I got on it from carrying it with me all the time. You can put anything on it. It's not very heavy for being a steel pistol. Weighs a little more than a Glock does. So if you're, worried about weight for some ungodly reason in your pistol, you don't have to worry about that with this gun. Anyway, if you guys are out there looking for a pistol and you got some money to spend, definitely look into a 229. The only other pistol that rivals in quality is probably the H&Ks, and they're really expensive, and in my personal opinion, they're a little bit overpriced. They're good guns, don't get me wrong. The SIGs is the, I hate to call them the Cadillac because, Cadillacs aren't that good at cars anymore, but this is, SIG makes probably the best pistols. They're just expensive, but you get what you pay for. If you needed a gun to protect yourself with, and money was no object, this is what you want to get. Maybe not this one model, but you want to get a SIG. So anyway, that's my review of it. I'll make another video showing field strip. It's pretty simple. Anyway, guys, I'll upload this in a minute, and give me a couple minutes here, and I'll have the video for field strip for it.